Hello everyone, welcome to JS Gigs and my name is Deepak. This is the last tutorial of this series, and in this tutorial we will finish up the remaining part of the application. Now if you notice and on your screen right now, as we have only created two of the routes, the first one is the login and login, after which you land on the dashboard, right, which is here. But then this doesn't really look like an application. Also, if I refresh this page, it lands on the same page itself, right? It is not really navigating or forcing me to re-log in, right? But if you look at the application that we intended to build initially was this. So let's say if you log in here, it basically takes you to the dashboard page, and post dashboard page you can basically move around, let's say students, add student, contact us and things like that. Whereas in the application that we have built so far, we have only built two of those pages and we are yet to build the remaining pages, right? So now in this tutorial, I'm going to be building the remaining pages. At the same time, I'm also going to be talking about the forms, and especially the form which is built on ng, which is built on material Angular. So you can see here the first name, the country, and all of these validations are already in place. So that's something which I'll talk to you about, and addresses, email addresses and things like that, all of these are available. So if you notice closely, this is like the moment you fill in all the details over here, after that the login button or the save button would basically be available. So if you click on it, let's say you select a date, you do something else here, let's say some value here, some value here, and now you can see that the submit button has become enabled, right? So let's say if you remove any one of it, by which it becomes an invalid, so it's a reactive form precisely that we have used, and same goes with here in the contact form. So here you will have to write down your details and let's say submit, and once you submit here, let's say the my message, and submit button becomes enabled. So this is what we really needed to build, and we have only built the first page. And so now in this tutorial, I'm going to be finishing up the remaining part. So please stay tuned. And in case if you want to know how to do the styling or any other tutorial in Angular, if you want to particularly know any other topic in Angular, please do write down in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to create a video tutorial around it, right? But for now, I'm going to be finishing up the remaining task on this application. So in order to finish this remaining bit, I'll have to take you back to the code editor. And as we had already committed all our code in the last tutorial, so there is nothing, no other file is there to be saved or to be saved and pushed. So let me close down everything and close this as well and this as well. So now I'm going to be creating now I'm going to be creating the dashboard, and from the dashboard I'm going to be finishing up. I'm going to be basically creating the three templates, right? So let me write down, or let me create a or one moment, let me also see if the application so far has been working. So yeah, I can see that the application is working very well. There is no problem over here. So let me just put this down and try to keep the maximum space in the center part of the screen, and let's get rolling. So let me now open this, and I'll take the user here. ng generate component, and the name of the component is dashboard. So let me write it down here. So now you can see that the app already has a folder available, and under that folder you have the dashboard component available. So this is going to be basically a tab group, and I'll remove everything from here, and I'm going to be putting this template here, and this is the TS file. So TS file, as you can see, that it only has a few it only has the references of the HTML and the SCSS file. So now I'm going to be importing a few modules. Why am I going to be importing a few these modules? Because the app used mat tab group, mat tab, student table, and things like that, and these are the ones which I don't have available at this moment with me, right? So I'm just going to be importing all of those. So stay tuned while I start writing this. So far we only have the student table. We don't really have the student detail and app contact us page with us at this moment. So I'm just going to be commenting out these two things. I'm just going to be writing a placeholder. So let's say all right, so this is done. And now let me import the modules. So the modules which are going to be used in this case are firstly the mat tabs module. The other one is the student records component, students table component, and the other two component I'm yet to build. So I'll have to import the tabs module from material tabs. So I'm going to be doing that mat tab module. So this is done. All right. So now I'm going to be putting this in the router file. So why do I need this in the router file is because I want user to be by default taken to the dashboard page, not really the tables page. And in order to do this, I'll have to open this bit. I think remove this dashboard component and can match. Or let me put the router part at the end, right? So let me also import this. It looks like something wrong here, so let me fix the spelling. So it's actually dashboard. Copy this, and we already have this available. Let me correct the spellings here and here as well. Yep. Let me close this. And also put this here. Yep. So now we have successfully created this. So I'm going to be creating the other two components now. So those two components are firstly the contact us, and the second one is, or rather the first one is the student details, and the other one is an app contact, right? So I will just save this. All right, so save this. And we are good, right? So now I'm going to be creating the add students and the contact us page, right? So firstly about the add students or add students tab is going to be having component wherein we will display a form, and that form is the one which will be displayed here. And the idea here is that once you finish writing up that particular form, the details would be saved in the database, right? So let's just write that logic as well. Right, so let me write the command to create another component. The name of the component is going to be student records. Other the student records entry. I'm just going to be making it like this. Now we have student record, and let me open the template. So now I'm going to be changing the template and also try to put the material form in it here. So please understand that I'm going to be basically creating a reactive form, and reactive form, I already have a detailed video available on my channel. If you haven't seen it, you please go back to my YouTube channel and please have a look at the reactive form tutorial. It's pretty comprehensive and it covers a lot of nuances and intricacies of reactive form. It'll be a very knowledgeable walkthrough in case if you want to learn more about it. So let me take you first to the browser and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here I have my channel with the name JS Gigs, and then if you come here, you look at the videos, and inside the videos you would figure out there is one particular video tutorial about reactive form. Yeah. So if you look at these 2, 3, and then this rather the entire series of 5 parts, you would understand about the reactive form in much more detail, and it's pretty comprehensive. So I would request you people to please go back to my channel and look at this particular series in case if you want to know more about reactive forms, right? So this is the best place in my opinion to learn reactive form from, right? So I'm going to be closing this and take you back to the code editor, and there the code editor, I'm going to be basically writing out that particular form which is required to be shown on the add students component, which is shown at the add student tab, right? So now firstly I'll write down the div. All right, so inside div I'm going to be writing mat card, and inside mat card I'm going to be writing form, right? And inside the form I'm basically going to be writing the full name, origin, declaration, and so on and so forth, the other fields which are essentially required, right? So please follow along, and you would know what I'm talking about, right? So as you can see that the my GitHub Copilot has already given me a suggestion for student name and things like that, but it looks like the first field I'm going to be keeping a full name, right? So this particular suggestion will not be really helpful, so I'll just discard it and make a div over here. And then inside the this div I'm going to be writing full name, and after the full name I'm going to be writing another div, and inside this div I'm going to be having a mat form field. Inside the mat form field I'm going to be having a mat label. With the name as name, and now I'm going to be putting an input. So this input and also I'm going to be creating a reactive form. So ng model is not the one which I'm going to be using. I'm basically going to be making use of form control. So I'll write down the form control logic here. This is going to be a name control. Save it. It's also going to be of type text, and also the placeholder is going to be first name. Now I'm going to be creating another input with the name origin. Inside this I'm going to be having another div, and that div will hold two other mat form fields. The first one is the country and the other one is the state. So I'm going to be writing those as well. Okay, so it looks like something is not right here. I'll have to write down the spelling correctly. So mat form field, and I'm going to be writing a div. Inside this div, let's write another one. origin, and then this is going to be basically the country, and this is going to be the country control. Text placeholder, text placeholder is incorrect. I'm going to give this as country. Let's save this. All right, so this thing is done. The other the other input I would want at this level is the mat form field with the name state. Let me put that down as well, or rather let me just copy this, and this is going to be state control, state here, name is country and state. And all right. So after origin, I'm going to be putting the another field, which is declaration. It's essentially going to be the copy of the same field above, which is precisely origin. So I'm just going to be copying this entire stuff here. Let me copy this once again. I'm sorry. And this is going to be declaration. It's going to be two type. Passport declaration, and the other one is going to be fitness declaration. And also I'm going to be changing the name of these controls. So firstly, it's going to be passport declaration control. And the other one is going to be fitness declaration control. And also it's going to be type. So this is going to be fitness. All right, so we have done declaration as well. Now the next term is course name. So again, it's going to be set of two fields. This is the way declaration is. So let me copy this and put this here. After declaration, I'm going to be putting the course name. It's going to be course name control. The other one is going to be the subjects, and the control name is going to be subjects control. This is going to be subjects. All right, so the course name is done as well. Now I'm going to be putting for birth date. So inside the birth date, I'm also going to be having one calendar input. So let me write it down like this. All right, so I'm going to be putting another div over here, and this div will have a birth date. And inside this, I'm going to be having another div like this. Let me put this as date control rather than birth date control. So date control, type is date. I think I also need the material hint. So right after the input, I'm going to be putting the hint and related code right here. Right, so mat toggle. So I'm just going to be displaying the toggle of material calendar. And it's precisely because of this that I've written a code like that, right? So it's pretty much done. And now I'm going to be moving to the permanent address. So permanent address again is a combination of multiple inputs. So these, right? So please note that I have written a code pretty quickly, and then I've defined these classes as well. You can find the code and related classes in my GitHub repository. And if you have difficulty, please do write down in the comment section below. I'll be able to help you with that, right? So now this bit of code is done, and I think we have closed the form and the mat card. And let me save this and go back to browser to show you how it works at this moment. So let me do this and go to the browser, refresh this. So this is a view student, this is add student in the contact us. The add student component needs to come here, but before that I'll have to import all the dependencies required for that particular component to work. So let me take you back to the code editor, and inside this code editor I'm going to be opening records, and inside here I'm just going to be importing a lot many imports, right? So how do I do that? So it's fairly simple. Okay, so firstly I need common module. The next I need is reactive forms module. I also need forms module, and then I need mat card module, tab module, and date booker module. Mat tabs module, and now I need mat date picker module. Now I need mat input module. Then I need map form field module and mat button module. Now let me import the date picker module from the material date picker. I think the import of it hasn't been automatically done, so let me put this here. Okay, so now I've imported all the libraries which are basically required to run this particular piece of code. And now I'm going to be creating the form, right? And also going to be putting the classes name here in the forms and stuff like that, right? So let me split this screen into two equal halves and come here to the student record component.ts, save this, and let me declare the student details form. Let me write it down here like this, and let me import the form group, or rather do it this way. I also need a few variables here, so let me write it down those as well. Now I'm going to be writing the constructor, which is going to be having the dependencies. So I'm going to be putting in, we write it down like this, and import the validators as well. So these validators are basically part of the Angular forms. So basically these are needed when you try to, or rather, let me just write it down like this. Let me remove this fully and do it like this. Right, so I have basically defined all these groups and controls here. Now I'm going to be writing the controls for these particular student form entities, which is name control, country control, state control, and so on and so forth. All right, so we have done this bit. The template has been written, and I'm going to be, okay, so let me fix these errors as well. Form builder is updated. Yep, that's pretty much good. So let me close this down here and also look at if there's an error. No, there is no compilation error either. So I'm just going to be exiting this, saving this, and student record, and then I'm going to be putting this inside the dashboard. If you come here and then student record details, so this is going to be student records and I'm also going to be importing this inside it, or rather this is all going to be the eagerly loaded modules. So we have defined this. Now it's time for us to write down the form controls, and I'm going to be writing so many getters over here. So let's start with the first one, which is name control, and it's going to be returning a form control, and this is going to be from the form student details form. Dot get, and I'm going to be putting name over here, and this is the return statement right here. And looks like the form control is not imported. So yep, now this is done. So similarly, we're going to be writing the same sort of controls for all our form elements, for all our form entities. So let me write it down, all of those here. So yeah, I think we've written it for country control, state control, fitness declaration, post name control, subject control, date control. Let me see if the other ones are covered as well. City control is done, street control is here, address to control is here as well, email control, and then zip code control, right? So we're pretty much done over here. So looks like the app also compiles properly. All right, so we've written the control properly here. Now I'm going to be putting this control, I'm going to be putting this component reference in the dashboard. So I'll open the dashboard component, and here is the thing. Let me uncomment this. So the name of the component that we kept is student records. So let me do it this way. Okay, and then I'm going to be importing the student record component over here. So it's a student record. So I'm just going to be importing this here. And yeah, I think now our application compiles, and let me take you back to the browser and show you how it looks at this moment, right? So let me refresh this. So the problem there was app student record. So we had only written student record. Now basically what we needed was the app hyphen student record. So let's go back to browser, and looks like there is an error again, and the error states that null injector date adapter. All right, so I'll take you to the code editor. The error which we were facing was related to the material date input module. So now you can see that at the root of the application, which is basically the app config.ts, in case of standalone component, one must really import this particular module, which is a mat native date module. And once you import this, that's when it will start working, right? So now I'll take you to the dashboard module. The dashboard module was the one which houses all these three components. We have written the first one. The second one is also something that we have written already. And inside the second one, I can see, I can show you that the student record component is already here, and inside the student component record we have imported all these dependencies which is required basically for this particular component to work, because this is a really big, because this is this particular component is a standalone component. At the same time, it also has a lot of module, which is a tab module, date module, input module, form module, and button module, because we're going to be making use of all of this, right? So now I'll take you to the browser and I'll show you what exactly our application looks like. So let me just input username and password, press login, and once you press login, it'll take you to the view student. Let's click on the add student. There you go. So now you can see that the application basically renders. The styling of this application is still not all that good, and that's something that will come to a little while later, but for now that you can understand that at least the application works, right? So now let's see if I move out. Yep, I can see that all of these validations are working as well. And let me see. Oh yeah, has no associated input. That's something that will fix a little while. Let me see if the street address, email address, and all of these things work. Yep, so this is working for now. And now let me go back to the VS Code and fix this particular error. And at the same time, I'll also style this better, right? So let's go to the code editor. Okay, so now I'll close all the open files because I don't think so I would need them immediately. So now let me open the student record, and here the student record, I think that this is time for us to basically do a styling, right? So now in order to do the styling, I'll have to open the SCSS file, and it comes here. And in the SCSS file, let me put the styling part right here. So I already have this style available, right? So that's something that you can copy it as is from my GitHub link, and the GitHub repository is something which I've already provided you in the description section, in the description section below. If you haven't seen it, okay, so let me show you by going back to the browser, and here at the GitHub you can find my name, GitHub, and this is the repository which I'm opening, and students entry is basically the repository that I'm using to put all this code that we have been coding all that while. So that's pretty much it. That's something that you can make a use of and can take a copy from and then start using it yourself, right? So now let me go back to VS Code, and here the VS Code, I have already written this style. So let me just save this. At the same time, I'm also going to be putting the style in all these empty mat card and divs. So how do I put them? It's fairly simple. The styling part was already available with me, right? So I'm also going to be doing some more inline styling. It's just to basically show you that these inline styling also work in case of Angular. So now let me put some inline styling for this mat card as well. Right now I'm going to be putting the other styles, which is basically for this particular form. So I already have this available. So let me put this here. And then now let me put the div, which is basically this, and put this style here. The full name also has a style. So let me put this right here. And name also needs to be here. So I'll put the styling right here. And now I'm going to be putting this style for origin parent div. So like this. Set origin, I'm going to be having this. So let me just copy this as well. I'm going to be doing this, which is mat form field. It's going to be mat form field for form group. Above the declaration, I'm going to be putting this here. And inside this declaration, I'm going to be doing this. This also has a few form fields. So these are the one I'm going to be styling now. So the class name is the form group, and that's something which is available from the material itself. So I'm going to be putting it like this, and same here, like this. All right, so the next thing is the course name. So let me put the styling for course name as well. All these classes have already been built in using the BEM model in my SCSS file. So if you want to see those, you are please most welcome to refer to my GitHub repository, and you would be able to look at all these classes. And if you want to know more about how BEM model works, I also have a very detailed tutorial available for it. And in case if you want to know more, I can give you a link of the same, and you'll be enlightened about how BEM model works and how it is important for us to create a model like that, and such that it saves a lot of time. At the same time, it makes our code a little more maintainable and manageable, right? So it has a pattern to follow basically. So now we have written classes for all our components right here. I think that's pretty much it. Let me now go back to browser and show you if this works pretty well or not. So let me switch the window, and here is the browser. Let me refresh it. There is no console error at this moment. Let me click on the add student, and yeah, you can see that the application, the form renders properly as it is really needed. And I'm not really going to be writing any other logic beyond this point, right? So I'm just going to be creating a skeleton of it, right? So I will leave this on you. You can very well do whatever you wish to. And if you wish to make your own application which resembles the application that I've built that needs NGRX, RxJS, and all of these material library and other stuff, you're most welcome to check out from my repository. And if you're liking my work, please don't forget to give it a star here as well. So do check out, and do take a fork and start developing your application on top of this. So now I think the only component which is required at this moment is the contactors component. And I think that we are pretty much sorted now, right? So and also we will have to write an auth card. Basically, if you refresh this particular page, you can notice that it only lands on dashboard. But the requirement is such that whenever you do a refresh, it must take us back to the login page, and then one has to log in order to reach to the dashboard page. At this moment, we can reach this dashboard page directly by clicking here and then opening this page like this, right? So this is not really needed in an ideal scenario, which we will come to a little while later. And I also put this in the center, right? So that's another thing that we need to do. So again, let me take you back to the code editor, and let me close down everything from here. Yep. And now I'm going to be opening another terminal session here, and then going to be basically coming inside the app folder. So I'll do a copy path cd clear, and then let me just write it down. Contact us page here, do a save, and then I'm going to be writing a contact us page, right? So let's come here. Please note, I'm not going to be explaining everything in detail, but then in case if you wish to know more about it, you are most welcome to write down in the comment section below, and I'll create a separate video tutorial around it. But then for now, I'm just going to be focusing on the part. I'm just going to be focusing on the meteor stuff. I'm just going to be focusing on the stuff which is basically required for this particular things to work, and especially around NGRX and store. So we have covered all of these, and I'm just going to be creating a skeleton of contactors page. So this is done, and now I'm going to be writing the TS file. So in order to write the TS file, I'm just going to be writing a contact form, and after the contact form, I need ng on init. And after that, I need a few more things. I need another function which is on submit, basically to submit, and I'll do some action. It's just putting, I'm just writing down in the console log that the form that I'm going to be submitting, right? So let me import this from the Angular Forms. So do this, validators, quick fix, forms, that's done. And then here I'm going to be writing this quick fix, forms, done. Right, so we are good here. And now I'm going to be importing a few other modules as well. So the first of which is common module. The other module is mat card module. The next one is mat input module. The other one is mat button module. The other is mat form field module. Right, so the next is form module again. The reactive forms module. And I need all of this. So yep, so I think we're good. Now I'm going to be putting this app contact us page there in the dashboard page. So let me open the dashboard page, and that's how basically it works, right? So I've already written is app contact us. Okay, so now we have defined everything. Let me just put this down here. Looks like some error here, and the error is app contact us page is not found. So okay, let me just import this in the component dashboard. So I'm going to be coming here, and here I'm going to be putting this import ContactUsComponent, and then it has imported it from the top. Let's see. Yep, it looks like it has built properly. So now let me go back to the browser. Let me go back to the browser and see if things work, right? So here is the browser. Let me do a refresh and put a contact us page, and there you go. So styling is something that we need to do at this moment, but at least the basic page has come up, right? So now I'll go back to the code editor, and here the code editor, I'm going to be putting the style. So style is something that I already have with me, so I'm just going to be putting that style as is over here. So let me close everything down from here, and contact us as CSS page. I'll put this here, save this, and refresh this, go to the contact us page, and there you go. Now you can see that the contact us page appears properly, and then we have the view student, we have the add student, and contacts page, right? So all of these three tabs are working, and now I'm going to be putting the auth card in place. So in order to put the auth card, again, I'll close this down, and I'm going to be opening the router file, which is this, and then I'll put this can activate auth card. So I'm going to be putting this auth card related code over here. I think I don't need this import, so let me remove this as is from here, save this, and do an auth card. All right, so now you can see that already have a shared folder over here. So I'm just going to be putting another, I'm going to be creating another file, which is an authcard.ts. So in order to do so, I'll click here, and put this content here, save this, and I'm going to be going back to the app route ts, and then I'm going to be changing the location, shared auth card, and let's just put this, I think I'll have to rename this to capital A, right? It doesn't look really nice, so I'll put this way, and come to the auth card here. Right, so I'll save this, and I can see that the application has compiled properly. There's no problem as such over here. I'm going to be saving this once again and going to the browser to see if things work, right? So now, all right, so now we can see in our application that the application renders properly, and let's see if I can go to the dashboard page directly. So I press enter, it takes me again to the login page, and let me see if I'm able to log in here and then go to the dashboard page, and yep, I can see that the dashboard page also opens up properly, and here all of these things are working fine. So thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm going to be removing this extra text and doing a final commit of this application. So let me go back to the code editor. So here the code editor, I'm going to be removing the extra text there from the contact us page. So it's basically the dashboard, and inside the dashboard here, let me remove this, save this bit here, and also remove this thing. I don't think so we need this anymore. Save this, and let's just go back to the browser once again. And here the browser, we can, let's say, log in. And once we log in, it takes a moment and render it here. So let's see if this works. Yep, it works. And then refresh this, right? And it takes us to the login page and add student. I can see that the validations are working as well. So let's see. So let's see if this works. Looks like there is some error there. And the error is that login button has the toggle button over here has some error, right? Yeah, looks like something is not right. So let's see this, what the error is. Attempted to open mat date picker with no associated input. Okay, so let's just see how to fix this. All right, so let me take you to the code editor to fix this particular error. So here's the code editor. We are going to be opening the component where the error is. So let's just close this down, everything, and then I'll just open the one where we have an arrow, right? So the error is on the page students records. So here the student record, I'll see what's wrong with the input, the date input precisely. All right, so now the problem here is that in case of input, we don't really have the mat picker. So let me write down the mat picker here as well and save this thing here. Now I'll click it to the browser, and on the browser, let me just write down the username and password. Press enter. It'll take me to the add students. Yep, now we can see that this pop-up works. If we select the date also, oh yeah, so it looks like there is another error. The format is not right, so let's just fix the format as well. And here the code editor. So here in StudentsRecordComponent.html, if you notice, I've defined material input date as type date. I don't think so I need this. So if I just remove this, save it, and now go back to the browser, and let me just try to log in once again. So let's see how it works now. I'll go to the students, and there you go. I think now the date works properly. Now you can see that MMDDYYYY in this form, the date has been appearing. The date starts to appear, and there is no console here. So we are done at this point, right? So let me close all of these files, or rather let me close this as well, right? So now contact us also, you can see that the page works properly, and here the add student also work, use student also work. There you can see the grid, and also you can notice that I have all these three forms working as well. So now we are pretty much good, and in fact, even if we try to search, you can see that things work properly, right? So we are pretty much sorted here. So thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen, for listening in, and it's an absolute pleasure to host these tutorials for you. And if you're liking my work, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also hit the bell icon in case if I post a new video, you would be notified. If you're liking it, please don't forget to share this with the friends and family, and especially to those developers who are trying to learn Angular. I think these tutorials can be very, very useful. And if you want me to cover on any specific topic in Angular or in JavaScript or around JavaScript, please do write down in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to create tutorials around those subjects and post here on my channel, right? So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, once again, and I'll pause this series, and In the next series, we are going to be talking about a very, very important aspect. The Angular 18, as you may notice, have just recently released. So I'm going to be creating a detailed video around Angular 18, as in like what things have changed in Angular 18 and how you can actually harness those changes and how they can benefit your application. All those things you can expect in my next tutorial series that I'm going to starting from tomorrow. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, and I think it's a time for me to close this series here and work on the newer one. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're liking my work, and I'll see you in the next series. Thank you once again. Bye bye.